the distance and the light, vibration of a thundercloud.
Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and this is the My Sober Addiction Podcast, where we are happy, healthy, wealthy, and free. And I want to begin this episode with a quote by Deepak Chopra. And it goes as, create your own reality, or one will be created for you. I kind of like the idea of creating my own. Thank you very much. So anyway, loved one, if your life isn't going as hoped, and I am using air quotes, if your life isn't going as hoped, it may be time to reevaluate. Kind of ask yourself some questions about your values or your outlook on things or whatever. My first question is, do you think that successful people got that way by cheating the system, or wealthy people got that way by off the backs of the poor, or by any other immoral means? Do you think that successful people, or just, we'll just go ahead and get it on out there, wealthy people got that way by some immoral means? Now, do these things happen? Yes, of course. Of course. These things do happen. There are people who have gotten wealthy from very immoral means. And then there's people who have gotten wealthy from inheritances and this and that. And I'm with you. I understand that. These things absolutely do happen. I'm not saying that. I suppose what I'm getting at is, do you have a negative opinion of successful and or wealthy people in general? But just in general, do you have a negative opinion of success or wealth? If so, then by default, your feelings toward wealth and or success are most likely negative. See where I'm going? So, why would you ever prosper? What makes you think that you're ever going to be successful or prosperous if you have such a negative view on those things? I did say in general, meaning, yeah, you could give me a few examples here and there of somebody who cheated the system or whatever. And sure, okay, fine. We can do that. But I'm talking about in general. In general, if you see wealthy, successful people, do you tend to kind of have a negative outlook towards them? This is something that you really need to be completely honest with yourself about, because I want to tell you, personally, I don't care. I'm just trying to help you get some. It doesn't affect me personally. But I feel like a lot of people really do have a negative outlook. Oh, he did that by, some kind of crooked means. Well, you see where I'm going with that. So if money or success or wealth or whatever you want to call it is energy, then you are kind of pushing that away. You're deflecting that away from you. And you may not even realize it. You may not even realize that you are making certain success and or wealth does not come into your life. Because why? Because you have a negative outlook towards it. Because you have a negative opinion of it. The worst thing you could do, if you wanted to improve a little bit anyway, the worst thing you should do is to let go of those negative feelings and at least be neutral. To where you just kind of hold in a neutral opinion of success and or wealthy people in general. But at best, you would probably serve yourself well to develop a positive opinion of it. One thing that I've noticed about successful people is they're usually pretty happy to see other people be successful. The only people that have a negative opinion towards someone who is achieving a level of success are people who are not, and they're kind of sorry, but they're haters. But people who have already made it, people who are successful and wealthy, they see somebody coming up. Please understand, I'm sure they're out there, but I've never heard of any of those hating on them. It's always the people under them. They're like, look at him. He thinks he's somebody. It's like, oh my God, let it go. Bob Proctor did a video one time where he was talking about money. And he said, money goes where it's invited. It stays where it's welcomed. All that good stuff. And he's right. I agree with him on that. So I kind of developed my own little list of things such as that with regards to success and or wealth. So success and wealth go where they're invited. They're going to stay where they're welcomed. And also they're going to stay where they're appreciated, where they're viewed in a positive light and not resented or shunned. Because if you look at success and or wealth, successful and or wealthy people in a negative light or with resentment, well, then you're probably not going to be one. Because why? Why would success and or wealth come to you? You resent it. You don't want to be that. Does that make sense? I know it does. It may be hard to hear. It may be something that we, it's like, ooh, I don't want to talk about this. Yeah, I mean, it's not always rainbows and butterflies, right? Sometimes we got to talk about the ugly stuff. Because that is unfortunately, how a lot of people are. And like I said, if you're not experiencing the life of your dreams, which I mean, that's a constantly evolving process. Every time we hit a goal, I mean, we've already moved on to the next one, right? We've already. So I mean, it's a constant. It's a constant process. But anyway, why would success and or wealth come to us? You've got a negative outlook, or resentment, or anything like that. You see that a lot, and I recently did a YouTube video, and I was talking about the poverty mentality. I was talking about victimhood and poverty mentality. And in the poverty mentality, I talk about with a lot of people who have a poverty mentality, they have a certain amount of anger towards money and wealth and success. And they have a certain amount of resentment toward wealthy and or successful people. A lot of times they'll have an opinion that the system is rigged, right? That they got that because the system's rigged, or they beat the system, or this and that, or whatever. Which basically says, I can't win because the system's rigged. It's for the rich people, or whatever. And like I've said, in some cases, that may be true. We see that a lot, right? But that doesn't mean that it has to apply to you. See, we got to stop with all this generalization. We got to stop painting with this big, broad brush that everything that is every successful, wealthy person must have done it by ripping off the little people. Because if you really do believe that the system is rigged, well, the system's not going to work for you. Hello. So that would mean that in your reality, in your paradigm, it is rigged and it's not going to work for you. Why would it? That's the reality that you're creating for yourself in your paradigm. Remember, you are a sovereign, individual, immortal soul. You see this whole thing from one perspective, and I see the whole thing from a different perspective. The universe is a hologram. If you see it from one side, it looks one way. If you see it from another side, it looks another way. It may be time to reevaluate. It may be time to look at your opinion on things. It may be time to stop having an opinion that the system's rigged, or that successful people do it by blah, blah, blah. Because it's not going to come to you if you have those feelings. Why would it? It can't. If you really drill down into it, and if you really believe that you do create your own reality, the reality that you will be creating in that case will be one that is what? That will be one that is the system is rigged. There are some rigged systems, yes, and there are a lot of really crooked people out there. I'm with you. That has nothing to do with you. You see, I love you enough to not let you have that easy out, to not let you cop out on me. I love you enough to be like, no, that may be true in some cases, but that doesn't have to be true in your case. I forgot what the figure is. I mean, it's like over 1,000 people, but there's like over 1,000 new millionaires created every day. I don't know what the number of people who are falling out of millionaire status is every day. Could be double that. I don't know. But the point is, every single day, there's more than 1,000 people who hit that $1 million mark for the first time ever in their life. Think about how that would feel. Just really sit and meditate on that. Think about it. How would that feel? Man, it would feel good, right? No, money ain't everything, but it would still feel pretty damn good, wouldn't it? Just kind of think about that for just a minute. How would that feel? Maybe take a deep breath and think about it. How would it feel if I really looked at my bank account and had $1 million in the bank? $1,003,012.51. What would that feel like? Right? Wouldn't that be amazing? So 1,000 millionaires every day. And they're coming up from nothing. And more often than not anymore, we've got a lot of people who are coming up from lower and middle class who are becoming very successful and wealthy. And how is that? Is it because there's more opportunity now? Well, yeah, it's probably got a lot to do with it. Because the internet, has made we truly have global markets now where goods and services can be sold all around the world instantaneously. Yeah, there's all of those. There's so many ways to make money now. There's so many ways to be successful. And really, you can kind of take a dart and throw it against the wall and find a way to do it. It's just what inspires you. What would make you want to get up in the morning and get busy? What would it be? I recently saw a thing about a couple who moved to, somewhere in the Caribbean. They moved, we'll go with St. John, okay? They moved to a beautiful Caribbean island, bought a rental car company. And they moved down there to run their rental car company. Are you kidding me? So they're going to live in a beach house in the Caribbean every single day. And let me tell you something, those houses there ain't that expensive, really. Anyway, I mean, they're no more than they are here in central Kentucky. But anyway, so they're living in just absolutely beautiful tropical setting. They own a rental car company. They just bought. That's exciting, right? And who would have ever thought to own a rental car company? I wouldn't have. Especially not in a beautiful tropical island. That's pretty amazing. And then you've got the other people who have an online business. And they can operate anywhere they've got a Wi-Fi connection. So again, there they are. They're living in the tropical whatever, living in the Caribbean, and as long as they've got a Wi-Fi connection, they can do business. So they sit there with their flip-flops on their beautiful on their beautiful porch, drinking coffee and looking at the waves. It's amazing. There's so many opportunities these days. You can really just kind of use your imagination and come up with a business. Because as long as you do have something of value, something that you can offer, there's always going to be a business for you. There's always going to be something you can do. So let's say, for example, you were one of those people who kind of resented success, kind of resented success and successful people, but you got over it. You were able to change that mindset and you were like, yeah, I'm okay with that. I just want to be a part of it. I just want to do it too. And I realize now that there are so many ways to do that now. There are so many ways, there's so many opportunities in the world today to be successful. There's so many ways that I can utilize my talents. There's so many ways that I can, all of these things. I can live wherever I want. Thanks to the internet, I can work wherever I want. I can do anything I want. So in those cases, here's the next step. Once you do begin to achieve some success, let's say, for example, you're just like that couple that bought the rental car company, and you moved to beautiful St. John. You're living in paradise for the rest of your life. And then you got people who used to know you back home or whatever, and they get in contact, or maybe they come and visit or whatever. Or they just see how you're doing. And they're like, wow, look at you. Somebody's really making it, blah, blah, blah. And, you can kind of note a little tinge of a little jealousy, maybe. Maybe they're kind of hating on you a little bit. Be like, well, look who's Mr. Big Shit, or whatever. In cases like that, don't apologize. Don't apologize for your success. Absolutely not. And don't diminish what you've done. Be proud of what you've done. Remain humble. Always be humble. But don't apologize. Oh, yeah, well, and don't diminish it. Don't make excuses for your success. If somebody's like, well, look who's Mr. Big Shit, blah, 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 whatever. Just be like, yeah. It's been a wild ride. It's been a lot of fun. Sometimes it's hard to believe, but it really is. It's amazing. We truly are blessed. Thank you for noticing. Be the example, right? Be the example. You're going to be the example. You're going to be the example of sobriety. Why some people get sober, and then in some cases you're going to be the example. You're going to be the reason why someone did something with themselves after they got sober. Or maybe they're a normie and they never use drugs, but they are looking at you and thinking, well, geez, this guy was strung out on dope for 20 years and now look at him. That guy doesn't have excuse, so neither do I. And again, here you are being an example for someone else. And that's got to be a pretty cool feeling, right? It would have to be. But just like with your sobriety, we can't do it for that reason. No. Nope. We can't do it for the sake of leading other people. But that is a nice little kickback. That is a nice little byproduct of getting sober and of having success after sobriety. That is nice. That's something we can be like, well, yeah, I did. And you can do it too. Right? So anyway, loved ones, I'm going to wrap it up in a minute. We got to get out of that rut. We got to, as we say, break pattern. It's what Jason Bashir calls a breaking pattern. I've heard the reality transurfing people call it, we have to take anomalous action. And I like that. That's a nice way of putting it. Anomalous action. Throw your reality a curveball. Even if it's something as simple as taking a different route to work. And if it's like, well, if I take a different route to work, I might not get there on time. Well, then leave early, dude. It's not that serious. Leave your house 10 minutes early if it means you're able to take a different route to work. Throw your reality a curveball. Because if you keep doing the exact same thing every single day, then nothing's going to come into your field that's new. You got to change it up. Make your reality, make your field. Wonder, what do I got to do to get this? Why is this guy acting weird? What I here? Let me throw something in over here. But meanwhile, you're working on perfecting a skill, or you are starting a business up, and you're doing weird things, anomalous actions, or pattern breaks, doing things that you normally won't do. And now all of a sudden your field, your reality's got to look at you and be like, what are you doing? What do we, hold on. What do we got to do to get this back to normal? To which you're like, oh, buddy, I'm just now getting started. There ain't no back to normal, right? Stop telling yourself that being successful is hard. Yeah, you do have to hustle, and yeah, you do have to sometimes grind it out, but it's not hard. It's like the old saying goes, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Now that doesn't sound hard, right? If you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. It just sounds like I'm going to do this. And I love what I do. And and it's amazing that I'm able to do what I love to do and have so much success and live such an amazing life. And damn, it's not even hard. Of course, if you didn't love it, it might be hard then, but hey, whatever. We'll go with it. So anyway, loved ones, that's what I got. I'm having a lot of fun with the whole YouTube videos things. It is kind of, I don't know, it's just a whole different thing. Like these audio podcasts are one thing, and then the videos are a whole other kind of thing. I can't explain why it's different. It shouldn't be different. It should pretty much be the same thing, right? Well, it's not. I don't know. I can't explain to you what the difference is, but I love doing these audio podcasts, but I also love doing those videos, but then they're totally different things. So I'm having a lot of fun with those. So anyway, if you go to YouTube, find me, Matt Stevens, MSA, Matt Stevens, MSA for My Sober Addiction. I got some pretty cool videos on there, I think. Anyway, they're fun to make anyway, and I'm not really even doing anything. I'm just kind of certainly not editing them. I'm certainly not making thumbnails for them or anything like that, but just having fun with it. But I mean, I feel like I really only do those when I get inspired. I mean, I'm inspired when I do these too, but these are a little more, they're more outlined. I did make a video today that I did have some notes with me on, but it wasn't really outlined. I just had some notes, but yeah. And then I've also still got my Substack, and that's just under Matt Stevens. Matt Stevens with Substack, whatever. Go to substack.com, or if you have the app, that's great too. And anywhere you get your audio podcasts, if you would give me a rating and or review, that would be fantastic. Got some pretty cool things on the horizon for all of this, such as live streaming. I haven't exactly decided where to do the live streaming yet. Most likely it's going to be on the YouTubes. Yes, it most likely will be on YouTube. Although I do know that Substack is kind of coming along with that kind of thing, and I think that's really cool, and I may look into that. Live streaming is the direction I want to go to as far as a video is concerned. Of course, you can always live stream and then edit that down to a audio podcast. The possibilities are endless, right? But really, I do like the more structured audio podcast, and then with the video, just kind of freestyle it. And then with the live streaming, that's going to be fun because, I mean, talking about whatever strikes you in the moment, whatever inspires you, or maybe a question could lead you down a whole other avenue or whatever. That's the kind of exciting part of live streaming. So that's coming up in the very, very near future, and that'll be a lot of fun. So anyway, we've got that coming up. That's going to be good. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm glad you're going to be along for the ride, and I love you, and I will be back directly.
There is a distance in the light.